Well, it's 2022, and what a great time at the beginning of 2022 to step up our filmmaking ability just that little bit, whilst also saving ourselves a huge amount of money and giving ourselves just that little bit extra piece of equipment to make the job that we do a little bit easier. So with that, let's have a look how we can make using one of these a little bit easier and give you a little bit more flexibility. What's happening, guys? Dan Debenham here. In this video, we're going to look at how we make a gimbal, one of these guys, how we make using one of these just that little bit easier and add a little bit more of the functionality to it. Now, gimbals, they're an amazing piece of kit. They're not cheap and they're not the easiest of things to get your head around using. And I did a video which I'll stick up here. That shows you like the 5 sort of basic gimbal moves that everybody should be doing. But aside from that, using one of these is a complicated, can be a complicated affair. They're heavy, they are cumbersome to set up sometimes, time consuming, and there's a lot going off on one of these. And often you see a lot of people who've got extra monitors and this, that and the other strapped to the side of them and so on and so forth. And it's expensive. It can be an expensive proposition to have one of these. So if you've laid out for a gimbal and you're looking for, and you've got a DSLR camera and you're looking for a way to make that add a little bit more functionality and usability to it, to get to the settings and stuff on your camera, what we're going to talk about today is how we make this something you've already got, an Android smartphone in my case, how you make this a camera monitor to attach to your gimbal. So what do we actually need in order to be able to make this work? Well, we need a few components, all of which don't cost, upwards of £1,000. You can spend £7, £8, £9, £1,000, £1,500 on a camera monitor specifically for using on these or on the top of the camera. But with this, we're gonna knock that down to sort of the £60, £70 mark and get you up and running with a system that will at least give you some functionality and allow you to use your camera on your gimbal in an easier way. So, like I say, what do we do first? How do we do that? Well, first off, we obviously need a smartphone. In my case, it's an Android phone. I'm assuming there are comparable Apple iOS apps that do this. But for this particular video, we're looking at the Android one because that's what phone I've actually got. So first things first, what we actually need to do is put the phone down because we don't actually need that just yet. So first thing we need a camera, phone camera, phone mount type situation. Mine, I've got a Manfrotto one. It's the mini thing. I'll put a link in the description below to what it is. It's just a spring loaded with a lock on it. So it locks into place, camera phone mount, and that's got 2 mounts on it. It's got a mount on the bottom and it's got a mount on the side, so you can mount it either horizontal or you can mount it vertical, and that's quite useful. So we need that anyway, because without that we can't suspend our phone from the side or wherever we want to put it on the gimbal. Next thing we need a data cable. So this is in my case, with this being a Canon camera, it's got a mini USB. So I've got a mini USB, not the really flat one. This is the sort of the first gen, what we all used to have as mini USBs, to USB. And then I've also got this, which is a little dongle, which was about £8, I think it was, for 2 of these, made out of aluminium and quite well built actually. And this is a USB-C to USB 1 converter. So in essence, that just lives on the cable because I never use it for anything else. And they basically plug into the back of the smartphone, which means I can then plug the smartphone into the camera. So we've got a cable. This cable's quite long. It's actually, I think it's 1 meter long, this, which means it gives you the opportunity, and I can get the Velcro little strap off. Here we go. So you can see it's quite a long cable. So it's got quite a bit of play to it. So if I'm here and I've got way more cable than I actually need in order to be able to put this into place. So that gives you time to tape things round and get things in a position where you want them to be, and so on and so forth. Now the most expensive part of all these bits, so that cable was £4 I think it was. So we're up to, at the moment, we're up to what, £24 at the minute, okay? So £24, the most expensive part of this whole proposition is the actual bracket itself. So this is the Ronin SC, Ronin RS2 bracket arm from Small Rig. It's a NATO rail bracket arm, so it's got mounting points on top as well. It's also got a cold shoe mount above, so if you're wanting to mount something else to the top, you can, and effectively then you're good to go. And this is all metal construction, very, very, very well built. Obviously it's in the Ronin RSC2 colours, so it's black and red, but I mean, who cares about any of that? So we've got that. That was about £39 I think it was. And then on the side of the gimbal here, you've got a little Small Rig mounting plate, which was a tenner. They were 10 quid. And that's what you use to get this attached to the gimbal itself. So it doesn't come with the mounting plate, because obviously the new Ronins already have this sort of mounting plate on them, but this is an old Ronin, so if you've got a Ronin S like I've got, then you'll need that little mounting plate. So what do we actually then need on the phone? Well, so we can go into our Play Store and we can download an app called DSLR Controller. And effectively what that does is that allows you to control your smartphone, your camera from your smartphone. So it has all the functionality of your camera attached to your smartphone. So in essence what you get is you'll get your ISO, you get your shutter rate, shutter speeds, you get focusing, autofocus, manual focus, so on and so forth. You also get ability to record, take photographs, etc, etc, etc. So you can do all that remotely from the phone itself. So how does it actually work, and how does it actually set up? So first off, let's get the gimbal, and we'll just show you how this actually sets up and gets going. So first off, first things to do is to unlock this. I mean, for me, I need to take my phone out of my case, because obviously I can't fit it in my case because it's a little bit big. And then all we do basically is just strap the phone straight to it. So I've got the phone strapped straight to it, click that and lock it in place, no worries. So that's all fine and dandy. So I can lay that down now. Then what we do is we will slide this on. There's a little lever that locks it into place, and at that point then we can then tighten it up. So we just tighten that up like so. So at the moment we're basically in a position where we've got this arm running across the top of the side of the gimbal. Then what we can do then is we can just, obviously this system here also rotates back and forth, so you can get the camera, the phone, basically the screen where you want it. For me it's basically at a slight angle. So what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to screw that into place like that. So now I've got this whole phone system sat on my phone, on my camera and gimbal, and sorted and ready to go. So then plug this in, and then what we do is we just find the port that we need to plug it into, which would be this one, like so. And then the minute that I turn the camera on, the screen comes on, and boom, we're ready to go. And we're all sorted. And effectively what we've got is we've got a view of everything. We've got a repeat of what's on the screen here, on the phone down here, and it allows me to do any of the things that I would ordinarily be able to do with the camera without actually touching it. So I'm touching the gimbal rather than the camera. So if I'm in the moment of moving something, or I'm in the move and the camera is moving along and it's rotating, it does mean that I can actually alter the settings on the fly whilst it's actually recording. This needs, once this is all put into place, obviously, this will need to be it needs to be rebalanced, because the cable will alter the balance of the camera itself. So in this instance, it's pushing the camera down, so we need to sort of just rebalance it a little bit so that it basically isn't doing what it's doing there. And then some of that will come out of play once we strap this cable into position and we get it in a place where we can actually use the camera, and it's not snagging, and it's not messing with the operation of the gimbal. And effectively, that's what actually happens with the whole camera. And it does take a little bit of setting up and getting ready and getting sorted, but the whole process makes the whole job of videoing an absolute dream. It is so much simpler than trying to use the back of the camera and the back of the screen. It's much easier to do when you're actually on a job and you're making a film, to be able to get all camera controls right there in the phone, right at your fingertips. So let's have a look now at it in operation and how you're using it, and let's have a quick look at the app itself as well, whilst we're here talking about it. We're now in the app itself, and as you can see from the app itself, it's got all the systems all the way around the edges of what we can actually do. So we've got live view, as you can see. We can go autofocus, which is live. We can go to 4 times, so we can select different areas that we want to focus. It's on autofocus S at the moment, so it is focusing for us. We can change the shutter speed, so if I want to make it even lighter in here, I can. It automatically does all that. If I want to make it even darker, I can, and I can change it so that it looks like we can basically set it so that it is exposed correctly, and so on and so forth. So we can actually do everything we need to do and make sure everything's right there. The ISO we can change, so we can put that down. So say we put that down to 100, but then obviously we need to come down a little bit on here. So we just come down until we've got it so it's correct. As you can see, I'm moving the camera around. And it's live. That's absolutely spot on with what I'm doing at the moment. It's there's no lag whatsoever. You can come up here and you can set it to different sections. So you can say, let's have it at 2.35, and that brings up some bars across the top and bottom, as you can see. So you can see what is and isn't going to be in frame or in shot, so that you know what you can frame your shots properly. You can have it in 16:9, which you can there, obviously. 16:9 with a grid on, so if I just turn to the darkness, you can see you've got the grid. Up here in this top corner, you've got this light box here, and if you drag that about, whatever you drag that to and drag that onto, it will focus on. So in essence, that's what you need to do to drag it. So you just drag it around like so. So let's say if we jump it over here like this, what we can do is we can see, we can't see anything really on there, can we? Because obviously it's too dark. But if I wanted to get it on, say that there, like that, what we can do is we can try and get that fence in focus. So you can see the fence is now in focus, but not the blinds, and they stay in focus until you move it somewhere significant, and then it will auto focus out onto whatever you're focusing onto. So you don't have to keep moving it about. You just set it once, and then it will set itself and crack on and do what you need it to do in order to be able to focus. So like if you want to center focus it, basically you just push it into the center, and then whatever you focused on in the center, it will focus on eventually. And it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick at doing it. You can set your white balance, so you can have your white balance set if you want to. You can also start recording from your screen as well. So if I hit record now, and you can see you get a timer, so you know you're recording, and it's lit up so that you can see that it's actually recording, and that's actually what we're recording right now, and we're doing that on the gimbal, and then we can just hit stop, and it just stops. Same with photos, which is the one underneath it. If you hit that take photo, it will take a photo. It even gives you the option of being able to set the scene, so you can set what the picture standard is. So picture style would be like a standard, profile, or automatic, or whatever they are that you want them to be. And from there, you're basically good to go. So basically, that's how we just save ourselves an absolute fortune by using equipment that we've already got and actually get it into a position where we can make our lives a little bit easier and make the job a little bit more fun, give ourselves a little bit more functionality, and allow us to access all the settings of the camera, not just the focus by just tapping the back of the screen. You can actually get into all the settings, and you can make the best of the video that you're making, even whilst still using a gimbal. Incidentally, this app, which was built for older Android phones but still works on the newer ones, it also allows you to wirelessly push this video stream out to another device on the same network. So you can actually operate this as a wireless hotspot and then push this video link out to, say, a tablet or another phone. So if you've got somebody who's looking at this video from a different angle or is watching it like a director, they can see exactly what the scene looks like from a different phone, wirelessly done via the hotspot from your mobile phone. So that is also another added bit of functionality to it, in that it allows you to get somebody who you're on site with to a vision of the video without having monitors and cable in and all that kind of business and wireless receivers and stuff strapped all over the place, making this thing even more heavy than it already is. They're already massively heavy and they're already difficult enough to use without having all the other gear strapped to the front of it as well. Nothing wrong with having all that other gear strapped to the front of it and you know, and all over it and that kind of stuff. I mean, if that's the way you want to go, amazing, that's the way you go. And there are many uses for stuff like that. You want a Ninja 5 or a Ninja 5 Plus, which is an Atmos screen which does recording and all that kind of stuff. That's definitely a way to go, but that's it's £1,000 or £1,500, and it's a big investment into an ecosystem that you can actually already kind of get some use from. Although it's obviously it's not recorded to your mobile phone, and it's not recording a separate feed to your mobile phone. It's just doing it to the camera as you would be normally. But you know, you're getting a lot of the functionality there from your mobile phone, a device you've actually already got. So with that, I hope you did find it useful. I think this is a really good setup, and I think it's a really easy way of doing things rather than carrying all the gear. You know, I've got loads and loads of kit, but if I can make that kit smaller and use things I'm already carrying anyway, i.e. my mobile phone, I will do. Like I say, I hope you found it useful, and I hope you give this a go and see how you get on with it. If you've got a gimbal, if not, get a gimbal. They're very useful, and they're an extremely important, I believe, filmmaking tool. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!